Hello there. Welcome to the Conservative Input. I'm joined here with my mates, Tim and Mason. We are
Hello
joined
there.
here from the Met Gala, and we're going to be talking about lots of things about this event because
Of course.
currently there is a woman out there. She's so spoiled and so bratty. She's the
Of course, of
most spoiled
course.
person in all of American politics. It's
Yes.
none other than Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So, gentlemen, what do we think about her display of behavior
Yes,
at the event?
so I think, she says she's part of the working class, but she does not work and she has no class. I mean, look at us fine gentlemen. You have Mason over here wearing his lovely blazer and the tie, and you have Stephen over here with the lovely blazer, and he's rocking the chest, and I've got the monkey suit, but that's beside the point. We've got some class, and I think we all can say that, we definitely put in the work. Um, yes.
I would like to add on and say I didn't even know she had a full name. I thought it was just AOC.
Really? Wait, her
Oh,
name's
I
not
just found it to
AOC?
be proper.
Oh, proper.
I just gotta
Yes,
be
of
proper,
course.
even though
Of
she herself is not
course.
proper. If you look at her outfit, if you know one, she just wears a. She talks about we gotta eat the rich and all that, but yet she wears a $30,000 dress
That's a
with the
$35,000
word "eat the rich" on there
event.
at an event, and it's so full of hypocrisy.
Very
that
much
I
so.
just cannot handle it anymore.
I just want to say this. Our viewers probably just dropped instantly. Um, but yeah, so I guess the first thing on the agenda, like Steven said, is Alexandria Ocasio Cortez is a hypocrite. She's got no idea what people want because that makes no sense. Um, she looks kind of silly. But yeah. Other than that, we've got quite a few things to talk about. Some of them are very alarming. Some of them are kind of good, I guess. Yesterday was Constitution Day, so happy late Constitution Day to the United
Oh,
States of America. We
yes,
love that. Celebrating the best document ever created in the best country ever founded.
yes.
Today is the 74th birthday of the United States Air Force, so a big thanks to all our servicemen, present, past, and future, and all their families and friends, of course. Your
Thank you,
sacrifices
thank
are
you.
not forgotten. And then we've got, another big news. Inspiration 4, SpaceX's first fully citizenship manned space flight, just landed not even an hour ago.
Wow.
That's amazing. It's absolutely
Well,
fantastic. 3 days up in space, orbiting the Earth 15 times every single day. It's amazing.
I love Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is amazing. But yeah,
Hmm.
um,
Based?
based. Speaking of based, there's
Yes.
been one very based individual this week. I think we
Oh,
can all give a
yes.
round of applause to Miss Nicki Minaj,
Yes.
Barbie herself.
Nicki
Okay.
Minaj, all power to you.
Never did I think that we'd have. Okay, now a lot of people are gonna be like, Nicki Minaj isn't on your side. She agrees with you on one issue, and that's the one issue I feel like we all need to be worried about. It's the freedom to be able to choose and to be able to do the research our own and not listen to our government overlords about what we inject into our body.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody should be able to agree to that, but her haters say otherwise. Um, But yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I feel like all three of us know because we're well tuned into politics as of late, especially since we've been doing this podcast. Nicki Minaj, one of her cousin's friends, at least, um, had a reaction, whether it be because of the vaccine or not, after getting vaccinated. We will not speak of such reaction because there could be
You
children
mean Miss?
watching. Come on.
Yes.
Children. We must save the children's ears. We're proper.
Yes.
Anyways. Anyways. um so yeah, she was just like, do your research, you know. And then she went on to say, I'm going to be most likely going to be vaccinated because of the Met Gala. I just haven't been vaccinated yet because I haven't been traveling. I haven't needed to because, she has a young child. You know, she shouldn't be traveling when she has a young child anyway. I commend her for that. Perfect. But never, like, people are always going to say, oh, she's not on our side. But she is on this one very important issue, you know?
Yes. Honestly, this is very interesting. Like Nicki Minaj, I was so surprised by her
Mhm.
take on the vaccine. Like, and I love that she didn't make this about left versus right, but rather this is about, you know, whether you want your freedom or
Mhm.
you want people taking control over your life.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow. And she's not even really like full on conservative or like full on.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You know, you don't have to be conservative, and that's I posted this on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it, Stephen. I was like, I don't care where you fall politically. We may disagree completely, but if we can agree on the rights given to us by God, whether that
Yeah.
be given by God or not, and protected under the Constitution, we are friends. Because it
Yes.
doesn't matter where you fall. If you believe in personal freedoms, I'm 100% okay with you. You know.
Yes.
Um, and that's how I feel about Nikki. You know, she's not like on our side 100% politically, but when it comes to our rights,
Mhm.
I'm with her, man.
Come on, bro.
100%.
Come on, bro. We need more people speaking up against this tyranny. People
Honestly.
are starting to wake up.
Yeah. And I feel like one of the biggest things is if she wasn't conservative, which I doubt she was, she's definitely like 100 steps closer to being, just because of the left's reaction to her. You know, she says one thing and everybody instantly hates her. And then we have people on the right defending her, like Tucker Carlson. You know, he's like,
Yes.
all she said that she'd most likely get the vaccine, but she's saying, do the research, make sure you know what you're putting in your body, see if it's okay for you. And now, and then she put the little like bullseye emoji saying, "Hey, he hit it on the mark." You know, it's my call. It's my body. I'm putting what I want into my body. Most likely going to. Just telling you to do your research. And then everybody hated her for it. They're like, you know, he's a white supremacist, right? And then she responded on
Tucker
Twitter.
Carlson is not a white supremacist. Like
He's
he's
definitely
great.
not. He's definitely not. He's a good person.
A lot of people they fear him.
Oh
I
yeah.
feel like, but Tucker Carlson and Nicki Minaj collaborating together
Oh
is
yeah.
one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen.
Honestly.
I never thought I would see that happen.
I,
Never did I ever think that would happen.
There's a lot of things that we never thought would happen that are happening. Okay, so you know, I think there was. Okay, so you know how the whole thing about like the timelines. You know, we're living in a weird timeline or whatever. I think when the Babylon Bee was created, there was two timelines that were created. One where the Babylon Bee is real, and one where it's fake. The Babylon Bee is real. Come on now. There's so many things that they've called that have turned out true, and they're just like, we're not even trying, I swear. It's the same thing with The Simpsons. The
Oh
Simpsons has
yeah.
called out so many things. I just hit my mic. That's terrible. Um,
Okay.
uh, but yeah. Other than that, you know, okay, so we talked about the inspiration for, which is fantastic. You know, one of the people on the flight, it was a girl. So what they were doing is they were raising charity for St. Jude Hospital. You know, one of them was a former St. Jude patient that
Oh,
overcame cancer, which I think was absolutely amazing. That's one of the reasons why I'm so like cool with SpaceX, I guess, because you know, in the end, it is kind of like, you know, they're wasting quite a bit of money. But I think, first of all, I think space is cool, and second of all, they're throwing a charity for St. Jude. Perfect. Now that's proper right there. Anyways,
Yeah.
we're gonna just keep doing that. Other than that, we've got a few more things. Do you guys want to get to the scary stuff or the not scary stuff? What are we getting to first?
Honestly, Mason. Actually, I've talked a lot. Mason, what's your take?
let's go with the scary stuff first.
The
Why
scary
not?
stuff first.
Oh,
Okay.
let's go. You gotta go
So,
there.
New Hampshire is voting to secede from the Union. Now, in their next election at least. Now, this could be something that actually happens. It could be something that doesn't happen. But the fact that it's being talked about is crazy. You know, it was talked about by a few New Hampshire reps, and now it's something that's actually being put in place in their election. Will we secede from the United States? Now, I mean, you say like, why is it scary? I think it's scary because, when's the last time states seceded?
Mm.
You know,
That
and
was
and how did it turn out for them? Now, I'm not saying it's for the same reasons. I'm not saying that they're bad because they want to secede, but it didn't turn out great for the South because the South didn't have, a good economy because they relied heavily on slave labor. There's a reason why the South was significantly poorer than the North, and it wasn't because of the people that lived there. It was because of how they were making their money. Um, so yeah,
wow.
with New Hampshire doing it, if it does end up going through, I guarantee you'll see a lot more states doing it. Most likely, regions will secede together. So we'll see the Bible Belt, we'll see the Heartland, we'll see the Midwest, we'll see the West, we'll see the Northeast, all seceding as regions if it happens. You never know though. So I feel like there will be a little bit more centralization instead of just being a whole bunch of random nation states. Um, the issue is though, states rely on quite a bit of trade with one another, and that's why when Oregon made that decision, basically they were going to put an embargo on Texas because of the heartbeat bill. That didn't last long. The governor of Oregon was like, "Yeah, no, never mind." So I don't think it's gonna happen, but I think it'd be a gigantic fu to the Biden administration
Oh yeah.
because
Definitely.
we've got vaccine mandates. We've got what happened in Afghanistan. We've got more happening in Afghanistan, which we'll get to later, which is the real scary news. We've got Devin just added to their story, or to her story. What else do we have to talk about?
Man. Oh
I will say
wow.
with New Hampshire that if like this could
Mhm.
go like three different ways.
Yeah.
Like just hearing this is what I've thought of.
Yeah.
This could go probably three different ways. Either it's gonna like rejoin the United States and everything's gonna be good. They're gonna make amends. We're gonna see it's gonna fall into like another civil war again, just like before.
Oh yeah.
Or we're gonna just see America itself collapse. We're just gonna see everyone start to freak out and panic. Multiple states trying to secede. It could be a collapse.
So this
Those are my
this process is called balkanization. The Balkans. Do you know what the Balkans are?
Wow.
Huh?
Like,
I do
isn't
not.
the Balkans like a region like in Europe?
Yeah, it's a region in Europe. It's so when the USSR fell and broke into multiple states, that area is called the Balkans. You know, and now where you see all those kind of Eastern European countries, um, it turned out terribly for them after they broke apart. Now, after years have gone by, we've seen quite a bit of rise in the economies, but these are states that will never go back to communism after nation states at least that will never go back to communism because of the balkanization of that area. So seeing a balkanization of sorts or a secession of states into their own nation states, sovereign states, the United States, I, I I get the feeling that it's either going to be something like the EU or it will become something a lot like um, basically the European Union. Yeah. I see something happening like the EU, basically. It's a whole bunch of nation states that are in like a loose trade agreement, kind of with NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement. But more
Mhm.
likely, if New Hampshire secedes, I see their whole region seceding maybe anywhere from a few years um, to maybe a decade afterwards. I can't see it taking too long, and if it does take quite a bit, New Hampshire may just join back, um, or be annexed, or be I don't know. I don't think it's going to result in a civil war like that because we are in an ideological civil war at the moment. Some people don't realize that, but we have two
Yeah.
very large factions in the United States.
Mhm.
And people were like, "Oh, civil wars like conflict." We've had a lot of conflict between the two sides. We've got two rival factions. We've got the Proud Boys and we've got Antifa. You know,
Mhm.
that are while the Proud Boys, don't really incite violence. That's a big misunderstanding about the Proud Boys. They're mostly just protesters. When they get attacked, they retaliate.
Yeah,
As
I mean,
as I feel,
honestly,
I feel that's warranted, to be honest. But
yeah.
we've got two.
Honestly, I just think the traditional I feel like the Proud Boys
Hmm.
at first, like I was kind of hesitant about them because my liberal friends, they keep telling
Yeah.
me, "Oh, they're white supremacists." I'm like, "Bro, come on." And then I was like, "But you know what? I think they have valid reasons. Like the traditional conservative value for me of like, engaging in warfare is like don't ever go up to strike the first blow. It's like
Hmm.
just if you need to attack, do it because you're defending your own life."
Yeah,
I feel like that's what the Proud Boys are doing.
that's what it is. Look, when I think of conservative, I think of the conservation of how things are, rather than the conservation of our moral high ground. Like one is a more moral approach. One of them, while seemingly moral, which is what the left does. They're trying to push their ideology up the moral ladder. You know, oh, we're looking out for the little man. We're taxing the rich to help out the poor. May seem very moral, but in reality, it's just pushing their ideas up the moral ladder. When in reality, they're at the bottom. Because we've seen it happen, and it's killed millions. Millions, it's killed. Their ideas, at least. Um, and that's a lot with what Antifa's done. They're literally, or their name is anti-fascist, but they have become what they are against. They do suppress free speech. They
Mhm.
do, listen to the government. Like, oh, it's like they lick the ground that AOC walks on. I don't know.
Yeah.
um, so if they were to secede, I I feel like we're already in an ideological civil war, so I
Yep.
could see it breaking out, like you said, Mason. I also see them joining back in, just like you said. What was that third option you were saying?
Um, there was like the complete chaos one, which would
Oh, yeah,
kind of fall within the two, like one of
yeah.
the two.
See, I see it happening because there are reason. There's a reason why the South, when it seceded, it didn't do well. It's because they lost all trade and they didn't have very many factories. Well, they had very few factories. Um, so they were eating their food faster they can farm, while the North wasn't eating its food as fast as they could can it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I don't quite know how New Hampshire runs its life. I don't know if they have a lot of factories. I don't know if they have a lot of farms. I don't know if they have an equal amount of both. I don't even know if they can support the people that live there on their own. I do know one thing though. Um, the
Mhm.
fact that it's being talked about is absolutely insane because of what secession has meant in the past.
Mhm.
Someone got a notification.
No, that was me.
That was you?
Anyways, so I mean, there's been a lot of tragic things going on, but unlike the news that I got though the past week was like Biden. I think he botched. Like people thought that Biden was going to be the one who restore, just international diplomacy again after this so-called like Trump. People were accusing Trump of like spitting in the faces of our European allies and all this stuff, but look what Biden did. He spit in France. Apparently, France is not happy with President Biden's
Oh
decision
yeah,
to leave out of an agreement.
they're very very upset with him. So upset that they pulled all of their ambassadors from both the United States and Australia.
I
You
don't
know,
remember if they ever did that with Trump.
they didn't. No, see,
Ring
here's the
bell.
thing. Trump understood we had allies, and he understood that we needed to keep those allies on our side, because in the end, China is rapidly gaining control over the world, and it's not in the way you think. They're not running from country to country with military power. No, they are invading every social media platform, getting metadata, getting actual data on people all around the world. And that's why I stopped using TikTok. It's
I
ran
have never used
by the
TikTok.
Chinese government. Well, it's ran by a company that's owned by the Chinese government. But you know, the reason why. So yeah, the reason why France decided to pull its ambassadors is because they had a trade deal with Australia.
Yeah.
Australia was going to buy submarines for them, um, apparently using some form of clean energy source that France had developed. Is that what it was?
I believe so.
I think that's what it was. But then Biden came and swept in, and decided to sell Australia some nuclear powered submarines. And France did not like that very much.
Hmm.
Our oldest ally, the ally we've literally had since the Revolutionary War, Biden just spit it in their face.
Oh yeah. Oh, but still, Orange Man bad, right?
Orange Man bad.
But
Orange
the
Man
big,
bad.
but another big turnoff for me was how one of the French officials they compared what Biden did to what Trump did. I was like,
Wait,
bro, you still not.
what did they compare to what
They
Trump did?
compared what Biden did, the way Biden just like handled this whole situation.
Hmm.
They compared it to what Trump, like the way Trump treated them. I'm like, bro, you're still not fully getting
Well,
it.
so here's the thing. Trump called them out, or Trump called a lot of countries out on the fact that one, we were investing way too much money
Mm.
for what we were getting into a lot of trade agreements, a lot of agreements when it came to the Paris Climate Accords. Yeah, we were like the only country that was like actually being forced to deal with that. When it came to NATO, a lot of things we were investing way too much in, and we were getting barely anything out of it. And he called them out on that, rightfully so. See what Biden did. He literally took a trade deal from one country, our ally, just snatched it, said, nope, that's ours. Dude,
Yeah. Wow.
like, what's the easiest way to get everybody to turn on you? Screw over the very first ally we ever had.
Yep. I wonder how. I wonder how Macron feels. I feel like.
Oh, I
Mac-
bet he's
Mac-
I bet he's
I
super
feel like
upset about
Macron
that.
secretly misses Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, see the French kings and queens and whatever they are from the past are literally turning over their graves. They're like, oh, Ben Franklin's probably super upset about it. He was like, I spent years over there. Come on.
I mean, it's
He's
like
like,
I get it. Like we
Yeah.
want to put American values first. We want to put
Yeah.
America and its people first as Americans. But there's a right way, I believe, in going
Mhm.
about doing this, and it's not like, oh, we just like scrub all trade agreements or whatever. It's like we
Yeah.
just gotta at least handle it properly. The way Biden messed up Afghanistan, he probably did the same thing with France.
Oh yeah, and see, here's the thing. I'm all for a little bit of light trade protectionism. I know it's a terrible thing to say, but I feel like in America we should be buying American goods because it's good for the economy. I feel like we should be incentivizing selling stuff to other countries and not buying stuff back. I understand you can't always do that because then countries just won't buy from you if you're not buying anything from them. Um, but for the longest period of time, we've been buying stuff from other countries and them not buying anything from us. And it's
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's it's been taking away the economy's really weird. It's been taking away our money, basically. I don't know. Um, and that's why the dollar is so expensive now. We have more bills than we have money, basically. Um,
Oh yeah.
I imagine this being like how the deal goes. Like Australia and France are like having their like little deal. All of a sudden, like Biden just randomly like walks into the room. Is like, listen, I got a deal for you.
I've got submarines. I'll sell them at a fraction of the cost. 180 days.
I can get you some. I can get you some submarines for 4.9 trillion dollars. The the thing.
or whatever he said. What was that one
Wow.
thing that he said in that video where he very obviously didn't? Yes, that was it. That was it. He just says something off the hat, man. Oh my god.
Sure. Oh, I
You
can't
know,
remember what the
when I was younger, I always used to hear people making fun of Obama, but
Yep.
you know, this is a completely different story.
Oh yeah.
Like people thought Obama was kind of like, I don't know, he just made people thought he made bad decisions. I can't really remember too much about it.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm educated on
I
this.
was not aware of politics during the
yeah,
Obama
I
years.
was not either.
I was a little boy.
But Biden, it's just been like,
My sisters that are really young, who shouldn't know anything about politics, know everything about Biden and what a failure he is because
yeah,
he's being brought up so much.
yeah,
You know, I mean, we bring him up because he's an idiot
yeah.
and he makes stupid decisions, but they shouldn't have to know that. They shouldn't have to
Oh,
deal with
It's
that.
insane.
Yet they
or
are.
maybe your sisters are based.
Maybe. But speaking of Biden, he also made so we saw what happened with Afghanistan. You know, we saw what happened with France and Australia. So the Biden administration used to decided to use some drones. Used to go back to old buddy Obama's playbook. That's what they decided to do, and they took out 10 suspected terrorists. Came out that they had no information beforehand. 7 of them were children.
What?
Oh yeah, 7 of them were children. The other 3 weren't terrorists at all. Where did they get this information? They had nobody on the field reporting anything. It's and they like when it first happened, they were like, "Yo, this is great. We took out some terrorists." You know, you see like a couple 2-year-olds, like a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old. Like, really, dude? And then they took out 2 suspected terrorists that were apparently carrying bombs somewhere. Yeah, it came out that it was 2 dudes carrying water to their families or whatever that they took down with a drone strike. I'm like, really now?
I'm like, okay, come on. You should not have. I mean, with as much intelligence as the USA has today, and as much
Yeah.
drone surveillance and as much information as we have
Mhm.
today, these mistakes should not be happening. If Trump did this, he would be literally being
Oh yeah.
ripped out of the
Oh
White
yeah.
House right.
He would be. Well,
Yeah.
see, the thing is, this is beyond the point where Trump would be pulled out of office.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
Trump would have been out of office like a month and a half ago if
Look
this
at
was
this.
him making these decisions.
If this was
Yeah.
Trump now, he would have been executed on the spot, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but look, this is what I've been talking about earlier.
Mhm.
This guy named Le Drian, like a French foreign minister,
Mhm.
he compared what Biden did to what Trump did. That's the part that got me like, oh come on, you're not fully getting it, aren't you? You're partly based.
Unless it was
Like, not really.
Macron. Unless it was Macron, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I feel like Macron's the only one who's allowed to have. Well, I mean, not really, but I'm looking more towards Macron's opinion of the matter because he's the actual. Isn't he the president?
Yeah,
They have
he's
a
the
president,
actual
right?
president.
Yeah,
Yeah,
president of
I
France.
just had to bring him up honestly, but it was just like that's just
Yeah,
what it was. But
unless they're the actual like leader of a country, I really don't care what their opinion is.
Yeah.
oh, sorry about that.
Um,
Anyways,
You have as much opinion as the people you fight on Twitter, Tim.
Honestly, I get in I try so hard to get in like arguments with people with check marks by their name. It's funny. Like there was this one dude who said that all Trump supporters believe that there are microchips in the vaccines and that they're trying to like monitor us. I'm like, actually we don't think that, but 41% of Democrats do feel like there's a 50% chance of being hospitalized when you get COVID. What? 41% of Democrats feel like there's a 50% chance of getting hospitalized? Do you know what the actual percentage is? It's like between 1 and 5%.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's
That is
crazy what
strange.
media coverage will do.
yes.
With, since I know that the
Mhm.
vaccine can't really be talked about too much on big tech platforms, I do not believe that there's a microchip in there. I believe that all our tracking devices
Mhm.
are right here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Mine, of course, has a glorious chicken on it. You guys can't really see it that well. A glorious chicken.
mine
But,
just has a
yeah,
picture of me. You can barely see it. I'm not gonna. I'm too lazy. Anyways, yeah, those are our microchips.
Those are our
Well,
those are the tracking devices that we have.
You know,
And I mean,
see,
it's easy to use them.
everybody's worried about government like watching us with like drones and stuff. We literally have a GPS in our phone.
And they can hear anything we say.
Yep. You know, and Apple's tried to combat that by using the little orange like bubble in the corner or whatever, but you know, who believes that?
Yeah.
At least they won't sell
I
our
mean-
data to the US government. Apple refuses to sell data or even provide data to the US government, which I love. I think it's amazing.
based Apple.
Based Apple. Yeah, they tried to get in the FBI, I think, tried to get into someone's like cell phone. Ooh, speaking of the FBI. Oh,
Mhm.
my
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, who was the doctor for the USA gymnast team? What was his name?
I don't know.
Hmm. That's a really,
I'm
really
gonna
good
look it
question.
up. USA gymnast doctor. Anyways, the FBI like asked Apple for like cell phone records of someone at one point, and Apple was like, yeah, no. They're like, why not? I'm like, because he bought the phone under the assumption that we're going to keep his data private. His data is going to remain private. You can incriminate him somehow else. So I mean, he did commit a crime, which you know, I feel like there should be a little leeway there. But I like the fact that Apple's willing to stand up for user privacy. You know what I mean?
Especially when they're the ones who are saying that there's privacy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of the FBI, yeah, so the FBI knew about old boy Larry Nasser for quite a while, apparently, and chose to do nothing about it.
Wow.
You know, the sick man who took advantage of his position as a doctor for the USA gymnast team, they knew about it. They had received calls from gymnasts about what he had been doing, and basically just said whatever. How do you guys feel about that? What do you guys think of that, huh?
Very concerning.
Yeah, that's the U.S. government there.
Pretty concerning. Like there's like, but I'm not at the same time. I'm not surprised that there's like
Mm-hmm.
there's always a stench of corruption within our government. There's always a stench.
Oh yeah.
That's why I've always called Washington D.C. the center of government filth and corruption. Everything that goes on with our government,
It's the
it's all
swamp.
centered around D.C.
It's the swamp, man.
Yeah.
It is
It
the
does make you
swamp. It's
wonder
always been the
what-
swamp. It was the swamp before DC was there. It's a swamp.
Makes me wonder what necessarily does he like know or something? Because like, why are they not doing anything? Why are they not stepping in?
Well,
What
so
reason is there behind this
the
individual?
the thing is I think the government's the biggest thing they're worried about is public image. You know, the perception of themselves. They try so hard to do things correctly, or make it seem like they're doing things correctly, and take the moral high ground. They always kind of like tiptoe around issues, and then they get caught. You know, like Biden's recent emails. I forget what the emails were about actually. Biden had some leaked emails recently. I will look that up actually, because I know it was no, not the typical liberal.
The typical liberal.
Oh, yeah. The Biden administration leaked emails, was strong armed by the teachers union into putting mask mandates in place, by the CDC, basically. They were emailed by the teachers union. The teachers union were like, "We're not going to work unless you guys make masks like required in school and stuff." So, yeah, I don't think that worked out very well because, you know, we're not having to wear masks. At least not in college, I guess. I don't know how it is in public schools, but I know, you know, in Florida, you know, Ron DeSantis is staying pretty strong, you know, no mask mandates, at least in public education. So,
Yeah, I think he needs to push harder though.
Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. A lot of people have the issues with the way Ron DeSantis is running things. Like even people on the right, not because of what he's promoting, but the way he's doing it. You know, because mm,
Mhm.
like banning mask mandates, like a straight out ban, they like some people see is still like kind of authoritative. You know, even though it is that, you know, he is authoritating the freedom of the people, he's
Mhm.
still
Right.
authoritating regulation on business or businesses. Um, See, me personally, I'm for it because I don't think he's going too far because he is protecting personal liberties.
Yes,
But I
exactly.
can see the argument where he is taking on a little bit more of an authoritative role because in the end it's the consumer's job to regulate the market, and if businesses are putting in mask mandates, people just won't buy from there
Yeah.
if they really have an issue with wearing masks. But you also see it like this: roughly 50% of our population is completely okay with wearing masks.
Mhm.
So we start to develop a mask only business and then a no mask only business. It's a form of segregation. That's one thing our country's very much against. So I feel like in today's day and age, um,
Mhm.
it's a good move because I don't see the positive of not mandating no mask mandates. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's weird.
Because if you don't have that mask mandate nowadays,
Mhm.
you have the complete opposite. Like my governor, Governor Sisolak, he said, he's basically like, if any employee is caught by like OSHA and everything not wearing a mask, $5,000 fine straight to the governor. So the
Wait.
governor just $5,000, or at least I'm not completely sure how that works necessarily, but the government, or like basically the government in Nevada, gets $5,000 anytime someone is
Yeah.
caught not wearing a mask at work.
Yeah.
So now you're seeing this huge problem because it's not no longer just, oh, wear a mask if you want to. It's everyone has to wear a mask, otherwise your company's going to pay money for it. And
Mhm.
it's not, hey, you need to wear your mask. It's, hey, you're not wearing a mask, you're fired, get
Yeah,
out.
because they're not going to put up with it, and that's what a lot of people don't think. They're like, oh, it's just a $15,000 fine, it's just a $14,000 fine. I'm like, are businesses going to want to pay a $14,000 fine, or in your case, a $5,000 fine for an employee not wearing a mask? They're like, no, you can leave. We'll hire somebody that will wear a mask, and that's the issue. Businesses aren't like willing to stand up for their employees. Because in the end, most businesses think of employees as, you know,
Mhm.
replaceable. You know, and that's that. Me personally, that's why I like working for a family-owned company, um, not a multi-million-dollar organization like most of these companies that are enforcing these rules, or lefty-owned organizations that are enforcing these rules.
Wait, where do you work again?
So I work for Subway, but I work for a franchise. So
Okay.
franchises have to follow the basic rules of corporate, but so it's kind of like the United States, you know. Think of
Yeah.
the companies as the country, think of franchises as the states. They get to make their own rules when it comes to stuff like that. So I work for a family-owned company. I work for GFI Inc., which owns the subways in my local area.
Okay, because I
So
was like, is I was like,
yeah, GFI is Go For It. That's their company's
okay, because I
name.
was a little confused. I was like, wait,
Yeah,
Subway?
it's the food business is weird. It's completely different from McDonald's. McDonald's makes more money off of retail, or no, off of real estate than they do food. Because what happened? Yeah, it's really weird. So when they have a franchise owner, instead of the franchise owner owning the property, corporate still owns that property. The franchise owner is paying rent to McDonald's.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they rent the property out in order to operate the business, and then they get a cut of the profit. But so McDonald's gets rent, they get a cut of the food, but they get more money from rent. Um, so yeah, it's really weird.
Mhm.
Other than that, though, we're actually running pretty good on time. I think. Yeah, we're only 44 minutes in about. Um, Actually, less than that. We've got the mass exodus of California since the recall election. Gavin Newsom won, but and as soon as he won, you know what he did? You know what he did as soon as he won?
What?
He
Mandated.
mandated vaccines
Oh,
instantly. Instantly.
excuse me, gentlemen. Well, I need to
Yeah.
clear off something. I'm so sick.
Steven, what happened to your
New
blazer, bro?
York. What?
What happened to your blazer, bro?
You can't attend the gala without a blazer.
You can't come to the gala without a blazer. Jeez.
You peasants.
We can't have the common folk in here. Jeez. Lord.
Get the rats out of here.
Jeez. Okay, that looks better. We have a fellow pig.
Fine.
A fellow pig.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is not rich.
Not rich. When we're talking about rich people, we're talking about the billionaires and millionaires, not the people who live in 100 and I don't even care anymore. Honestly, if you make enough in a year to buy a house, leave me alone. A good house, like a middle class American house.
Oh my gosh. Gavin Newsom mandating vaccine. That just made me
Yeah.
sick. When you guys brought that up, I just needed to just. They did
I'm
this
just
thing
like-
in New York.
PragerU needs to leave. They need to leave.
They do.
freaking California. I don't know why they're still there.
They need to hold the line. Maybe we need no. I think we gotta still have good amount of patriots to hold the line. We can't just be focusing on Florida, Texas. Like we gotta be, like I'm in New Jersey. I haven't even moved to Florida or Texas yet. I'm still trying to hold the line in my liberal state.
Yeah, I don't think that everyone needs to flee to two different states, because I think that would just be a little problematic. But I just think like states like California, they've proven that they're not going to really, that they're not going to change. There's too many people to counteract that change.
Yeah,
So-
it's so here's the thing, with the whole California thing, they really did. They voted for this. They wanted that, and the biggest thing I can't understand is they've been locked in their houses for how long? Well, locked in their houses for how long? Businesses have been shut down. Their homeless population is growing. Taxes are extremely high. It's almost like they're like gluttons for punishment or whatever.
Oh,
'Cause they-
But we want to be safe. We want to save lives.
Be
you know,
safe from what?
We gotta be safe from anything.
A disease with a 99.98% recovery rate.
Survival rate, exactly.
This is a
That's
pandemic.
misinformation. Everyone
This is a
who's gotten COVID
pandemic.
died who hasn't been vaccinated.
Exactly. Everybody who's gotten did you guys see the story of the perfectly healthy teenager that died of COVID?
No.
No.
I've heard too many of the
So
stories,
it was-
I-
It was
what can you talk?
it was a kid that suffered from obesity, pretty bad obesity. Like he was significantly overweight, and I can't remember what news station it was. They were like perfectly healthy teen dies from COVID, and I'm like, okay, so it's a terrible thing that he died from COVID. That sucks. But
Yeah.
why are you doing that? Like what is the point of pushing this narrative that this kid was perfectly healthy? We see that he's not. I mean, no shame to him. He probably couldn't control that. That's whatever. Praying for him. I hope he's in a better place. But you can't just like do that. That's not right. Claiming that because he probably was, a fairly strong individual. Even though he did, suffer from this disease, talking about obesity, because it is kind of a disease at this point. Even though he suffered from this, he probably was a fairly strong individual, and without it, he probably would have, survived COVID. So, shifting this story to it being all about COVID, all about this, all about that, it's very disingenuous, and it's not doing anything for the people who have suffered from COVID.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going anywhere. And it's irritating.
It really bothers me when they spread one narrative where it's like, oh yeah, perfectly healthy people who aren't perfectly healthy are dying of COVID, but then not a peep about vaccinated people dying or people having reactions to the vaccine. There's this person who who made it about 8 months through her pregnancy and then got vaccinated while being pregnant.
Woo, why would you do that?
Let
Don't
me
don't
read stuff.
Okay,
So
anybody out there, if you are pregnant, don't put anything in your body but
yeah,
water and food. You
Yes.
shouldn't even be
So
taking ibuprofen, okay? I don't care if you have a headache. Drink some
yeah.
water, lay down, take a nap.
Eat food, like
Eat
as he
food.
said.
Take care of
Exactly.
yourself. You don't need medication. It's not good for you, it's not good for the baby.
So the
Definitely don't get a
child
vaccine.
was born, right?
Yeah.
Child was born. Child is back in the hospital. Needs a brain scan and is causing jitters. So the child's just shaking all the time, basically. And the doctors have no idea what's going on. And so this child now has been born and is a complete wreck, needing brain scans. The
Mhm.
child, there's a video to it. I would put it on here, but it just I wouldn't be able to get the audio or like the
Yeah.
video up in time. And the child's just literally like shaking like this just while laying down on her
Mhm.
back, just shaking constantly. And I'm just like, this is a problem. Now I'm not saying that everyone who gets the vaccine is going to get this, because I mean clearly, Tim, you're okay, you're alive, you're breathing well.
Yeah, I'm fine.
I think
Well, I mean,
I
so
heard you
here's
sniffling, so I think you might be dying.
and
But
oh yeah, no, I have allergies. Um the thing is, okay, I would recommend getting the vaccine. Okay. I'm not telling you have to. I would recommend it, but I would also recommend talking to your doctor about it. Cuz if it's not something you need to worry about, it's not something you need to worry about, you know? And you two seem perfectly healthy. I doubt you guys need it. I don't think you do. But I doubt it would also hurt you to get it, to be honest. Um that's this or that, but a lot of the people we see dying of COVID, they're not like Steven, they're not like you, Mason, they're not like Devin, they're not like me, they're not like Zane, they're not like these are people who have bad pre-existing conditions. You know, I think it was something like 78% of hospitalizations were people that were significantly overweight. Um, that's not people who got COVID, that's hospitalizations. That's not people who died of COVID, that's hospitalizations. Or elderly, mostly people with pre-existing conditions. So it's not regular people, and it's definitely not a majority of children. You know, children are statistically very unlikely to get COVID, to give people COVID, or to die of COVID, to even show symptoms of COVID. To be honest, it's
and the main thing that's killing people in hospitals is the treatment that they're using for COVID.
what are they
They're
using
they're
for COVID?
putting on. I don't know exactly what they're treating, but I know a lot of the stuff that they're advising against. So they're advising against vitamin C. Don't use vitamin C while you're in there. It hasn't been studied enough. It's not like vitamin C has been around since the dawn of time, and we've been studying it for forever. And it's been shown that you should take vitamin C when you're feeling sick to feel better or like to help you with it. So they're saying don't use vitamin C. You're also seeing the media and everyone pushing against. I can't ever pronounce these names of medication because I just don't do
You're
it.
talking about
But
monoclonal antibodies?
no, what's that like? The horse medication stuff?
Ivermectin.
Yeah, that stuff
So
has been proven to help people. Like, of course, in not horse medication,
yeah,
like
okay.
not horse dosage, but actual good amounts of dosages has been proven to help against COVID.
So
We saw the same thing with Trump and hydro. I can't say the name of the stuff.
hydroxychloroquine.
Yep.
Hydroxychloroquine. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
put that bleach in your. At least you get some bleach in
I
your arm.
hate
That'll
people
take care of it,
so
right?
much. So here's the biggest problem with the left. They see the chemical's name, they search it up, and they go with the first image they see. Or they run to their cabinet, look at random chemical bottles, trying to find which one has hydroxychloroquine in it. They see a bottle of like cleaner, and they're like, he's infecting himself with bleach.
Like, that's horse medication. I'm like,
So
that
ivermectin.
yes, horses also
There's-
eat carrots. So
There's for livestock. There's a version for livestock and there's a version for humans. The version for humans was given a Nobel Prize in 2015. Okay? It's an anti-parasitic and an antiviral. It works. There's a reason why Joe Rogan's doctor and thousands of other doctors are prescribing people ivermectin. There's a reason why they're giving to ivermectin to every single illegal immigrant coming over that border. And it's not for parasites. Steven, you muted yourself.
Wow. I guess really like what it means is, I guess anything that doesn't agree with the left, I guess we always say this, at least I guess it doesn't fit their narrative.
Oh, yeah. See, Joe Rogan was prescribed monoclonal antibodies, and he was prescribed ivermectin. He beat COVID in 3 days. You know, people were like, oh, it's because of his lifestyle. He lives healthy. I'm like, okay, so what are you arguing? Are you arguing that perfectly healthy people actually have
Can be
significant
COVID,
chance of living? Or are you arguing that there's no difference? That not perfectly healthy people are perfectly healthy? That they're 100% okay? Nothing's wrong at all. Eat whatever you want. Sit in your couch all day, watch TV, chew on your potato chips, drink your slushies.
I know some people that are like in their like 50s or 60s. I don't really know them like of course that well, but like my parents and everyone do.
Yeah.
They went to the hospital
Mhm.
or for COVID, right? They're not vaccinated, none of that stuff, right? And the one person they got out, they're completely fine. The other person was held in there for a long time because they just had like kidney surgery. They had a lot of different stuff. They're held in there for a long time, and the doctors refused to let them leave when he was only on oxygen. He was only on a small dosage of oxygen, and they would not let him leave.
Why?
They would just say, "Oh, well, he's not allowed to leave on this floor. Like he's on this certain floor, so you can't leave." And so no one could see him. No one could do any of that. And when you do that, that really beats a person down.
Yeah,
If
there's a
their life
reason.
is one thing that keeps them going, and he's not allowed to see them, then that's really going to beat them down.
There's a reason why solitary confinement is one of the most terrible things we can do to people in our prison system. Now, sometimes it's justified. You know, you start a huge fight, I think you should get thrown in the hole for a couple hours. But, you know, there are people who have been locked in solitary confinement for like days, and it's terrible for them. You know, most of our crazy people in our prison system, it's because of the solitary confinement that they're put through. So doing that to somebody in a hospital, you know, when they've done nothing wrong, they can't help that they're sick, yo.
Yeah.
It's terrible. What were you flipping out about, Steven?
No, I just can't.
You
About
can't?
everything about this COVID stuff, it's gonna make me flip at this point,
Yeah.
honestly. Yeah, I still don't know why they pushing that sort of crap.
It's
Did you
all
guys,
about control.
It's
That's
about
what it is.
control. You know what? Forget this. I'm kidding.
I
Did you
break
guys
off
hear,
my chains. What's that, Mason?
I lost myself.
A little while ago, this was featured in a documentary that I saw that was put on by a fellow that I know named Eric Mutzos. They have this nurse who's talking, and she's saying that they won't, like, this is back in very early days of COVID, they would not, like, surgically, what's the word I'm thinking of? Donate, like, organs or something like that. They would not give a donor, or, I'm messing up words a lot. But if someone needed an organ, they would not give him an organ if the person who gave the organ was suspected to even have COVID. So it wasn't even like they knew he had COVID, just suspected. And so that person would be like, dude, I don't care. I want the organ.
Yeah.
I'm going to die if I don't get it. And they wouldn't give it to him. They would give organs that have HIV or like all sorts of different stuff, but they would not give it if it was suspected to have COVID.
Oh, and so here's the thing. And that's where we fall along the lines of pre-existing condition. You know, what qualifies as a pre-existing condition? If somebody is in the hospital for whatever reason, statistically they are more likely to die from COVID. You know, because, you know, there is, when, like, say I break an arm, you know, my immune system is going to focus on healing my arm before it focuses on making sure that I'm doing okay from COVID. So, you know, line of reasoning, even something as little as a broken arm gives you a higher risk of dying of COVID. So if you're healing from a from getting a organ donated to you. It's a little bit iffy, but I mean, I would be like, yo, give me the organ, man.
I mean,
I
it's
will,
that
I
bad,
will
so I mean, I
put
would take
me,
my chance.
yeah, I'm like, put me on life support while I recover. I don't care. Um, people, I like to call it COVID derangement syndrome. Like, you think COVID is the
Oh, COVID
worst thing in the
derangement.
world, you know? And it's really, okay, I mean, it's bad, but, I mean, let's be honest.
The media has made it worse than
The
the media
media
is
has,
portraying it as worse than it is.
yeah. So yeah, we've got a couple more things to talk about. We've got the thing Zane really wanted us to talk about, and then we've also got what is going on at the border.
Oh yes, the border.
So
That's a very important thing to discuss
That's
because the border crisis, it's still going on. A lot of these immigrants, they just flooding in without any, proper vetting system. It's just gone awful. It's just gone worse under Biden.
yeah,
Like,
it's terrible, and they're not even trying anymore. You know,
Yeah.
um, Fox News sent their drone over that little overpass, and there's literally like thousands of people caged in, trapped inside a giant cage, you know, and there's video of them like of illegal immigrants like passing over the river in like swaths, like huge amount of people, like crowds on either side of the river, people trying to get through, people trying to get out. It's like there's not even a border at all, because there isn't at this point. You might as well be walking from like one city to another. You know. And I mean, okay, so there is a few things that I see this as, hey, we're not gonna have a shortage of people working now. We'll have people actually working, but the problem is that money's going out of the system. Taxes aren't being paid on it. There's also, hey, I mean, Hispanic people are generally more conservative.
yeah.
Now, I don't know how that's going to lean when it comes to voting, because I'm sure they'd rather keep someone in office who's going to allow them to stay there, rather than. So, you never know. They may be okay with leaving once they've gotten enough money, but I get the feeling they'd rather vote for somebody that is okay with them staying there, rather than somebody that agrees with their beliefs. You know what I mean?
Ugh, I just can't.
It's absolutely terrible, and I wish I could bring up pictures, but we're not quite to the point where we're okay with pulling up pictures. We
got
did it
children
a couple times in the beginning, but it's just a lot of work, and there's a lot of toying around with that I don't want to have to deal with, and I guess I don't think either of you would. Unless you guys want to pull up pictures. Do you guys want to pull up a picture of what's going on at the border?
Mm.
I think the audience should just look it up themselves.
The audience should be able to. It's
We could get some links to them if they need.
Yeah, we can put some links. I haven't really put any links in the descriptions, but we will definitely provide some links today. If you could shoot me a text in the group chat. Steven, if you could shoot me a text in the group chat telling me to put some links in. Actually, could you provide some links? That'd be great. One that shows images of, it can be just a Google search of what's been going at the border. And then we've also got Lil Nas X recent album.
Oh my gosh.
What about him?
Lil Nas X, I would like to say something from you, or for you, or to you, I guess.
Oh,
I'm 100% cool with the LGB community. I say LGB specifically. None of the rest. I feel like those are just weird. LGBs, I'm cool with. They all think you're really weird, dude. They think you're absolutely bonkers, bro. One of my best friend at work, I was like, do you know who Lil Nas X is? He's like, no clue. And I showed him, I started like singing one of his songs, and he was like, oh yeah, I love his music. And then I showed him a picture of his most recent like album cover, and he's like, oh? He's like, that's disgusting. I'm like, yes, it is disgusting. We're not providing links to the music video. I'll go ahead and say that. That is a no.
Don't look up Lil Nas. Lil Nas, however the freak you
Lil
say his
Nas.
name. Don't look him up. Just take our word for it. This is
Now-
the only thing we want you to take our word for it.
It's tragic. Now I do love his older music. You know, Panini and Old
was good
Town
stuff.
Road. I love it. I love
Good
it.
stuff.
But he's just going absolutely bonkers, man. We see people before they're popular. They you know, they're like regular people. And then once they get in the spotlight, dude.
You could tell he's openly sold his soul to Satan himself, and he's literally been open about it because he's been portraying Satan in just about everything he's doing.
And you know, you could look at Satan being a whole bunch of different things. I'm sure me and Mason view it in a literal sense. He has sold his soul to Satan, and Steven may feel the same way. Do you feel that way, Steven? He sold his soul to Satan.
I already feel like he sold his soul to the devil when he
Yep.
started selling that 666
It's
shoes.
not just
Whatever.
straight up,
Yeah.
it's like,
But regardless of if you're religious or not, he's definitely sold his soul to Hollywood. You know, he's definitely under the boot. He's definitely targeting towards an audience that's going to get him more clout in the end, I guess. Because regardless, you know, all publicity is good publicity. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or whatever. So yeah, it's we see this with a lot of artists. And it's sad, you know. And I've definitely started listening to a lot of actual like conservative music. You know, we've got Bryson Gray. Love me some
Hey.
Bryson Gray. I listen to a lot of Topher, the Marine Patriot. Who else? There's quite a few actually. I'm not too sure of all who it is. The Red Kingdom. I listen to that song.
Red Kingdom. Red. You know, in fact, I'd like to put this on.
Nope, don't do it. Definitely not.
don't do it.
We're gonna get
Why?
copy because we're gonna get copyrighted.
Oh,
You didn't know we have two copyright claims on our videos.
oh,
what?
wow.
Yeah, we got two copyright claims. I think I'm
Okay,
the only
fine.
one who knows because I'm the only one who looks at that type of stuff. But yeah, no music, unless it's our intro song, which we are talking about rebranding. So you never know. That may change.
Might change.
It might change. We don't know. I'll have to talk with Zane about it because he still is kind of the leader of this whole shindig. But yeah. Other than that, Mason, did you have anything fancy for us this week?
I did not. Just the suits and
Just
ties.
suits and ties. As long as I've got my suit and copyright.
Copyright tie.
I don't have my tie on. It's somewhere in my closet. What about you, Steven? You got anything special for us this week?
Oh, well, that's a very good question.
Besides your award-winning personality.
My award-winning personality.
Good job, Mason. Good job.
Well, this is really just like I don't know, but a lot to say on my mind. But all I can say is that things are just going crazy. You know,
Oh yeah.
and I believe, and I've been just sharing a lot of my heart, just like, especially with what's been going on with the church, like even religious groups being targeted over this whole vaccine stuff, whatever. But what do I have to say? Well, I don't know.
Hey, that's all
No.
right. Well, a lot of stuff has happened. A lot of stuff we never saw happening. You know, we've got Nicki Minaj red pilled. We've got a black man in California being called a white supremacist.
What?
Yeah. I mean that happened last week. I was talking about that on last week's episode, but I felt the need to bring it up. We've got thousands of people rushing the US border. We've
What
got
in the world is going on, man?
hypocrites in government, hypocrites at the Met Gala. Such a queen, AOC. Oh my god. I didn't know you were a model. Did you guys see that video? Like that specific
Yeah.
video. That was weird. That was weird. I hate politicians. Working class. But anyways, yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this week. Steven, you want to close this out?
Yes. On
Yes.
this has been the once
British.
again, this has been yet another episode of the Conservative Input. Don't forget, every week we live stream this so we can
Not live stream.
have
We
people
don't live
just hear
stream.
the truth. We want to just the whole purpose of this conservative input is we want to give people the full truth of what's going on in our world. And so, yeah, and a group of us conservatives, as you may know, we met through this like organization called PragerU. They actually have a group for young conservatives, like
Okay.
both that are students and professionals, called Prager Force. And so,
Yep, and
please follow up.
we do have that up on the top of the screen. Make sure you follow them on Instagram and Twitter, and they also have a YouTube channel. But that may be changing here soon. So they're
Yeah.
tags while we still have them.
And please, if you have any friends or family that you know need to hear the truth, please tell them to go and subscribe to our channel at
Yeah.
the Conservative Input. And so, yeah, I like to say, God bless America, and I bless you all as you search for the truth for yourself and as you continue to build up to your fight for freedom. Thank you very much, and have a good night.
Adios.